So we've now going under a full restart, so we'll just quickly run through the grid for the Minimax pre-final. Jacob Ashcroft and Albert Friend on the front row. Felipe Reyes and Denny Babacek on row number 2. Lucas Stoddart and Boris Verhaag with Cole Denham, Nikita Lubimov, Alexander Van Meeuwen and Kai Clark rounding out the top 10. Ryan Rivers, Rory Armstrong, Maxime Becker, Jack Freeman, Thomas Verheyen, Sven Lindemann, Jens Moonen, Oliver Warner, Lars Lambers and Leo Gonzalez rounding out the top 20. Ryan Gandor. Then we've got Victor Reutz, Christian Segerson, Bran van der Veek and Vic van Kampenhout due to start 25th, but may have been taken off of the grid. Sees Moyes, Tristan Shays, Jeff Verbeek, Finn Abbott Jorgensen, Nico van Berkel, Andres Jalab, and then we've got Adrian Stions, João Maria Pereira, Ryan Rampadarath, Maria Roberto, Kieran Stewart. That is your grid. So whether Vic van Kampenhout is going to start from the dummy grid, I'm not sure. Or if he's not taking part in this race, what will happen is that the youngster will have to start at the back of the grid for the final later on today. So, red lights on the starting gantry once again. 13 minutes plus an additional lap of racing. The result from this will set the grid for the final at 14:35 local time this afternoon. So, under starters' orders, out of the final corner, into the tram lines. This time the revs start to build. Are we ready? Are we steady? The Minimax pre-final gets underway the first time on the full restart as Albert Friend is jumping up and down in the cart, and he's lost a handful of positions, maybe into 6th position as they go through into turns number 1 and 2 for the opening time. Ashcroft has already gotten a good advantage, but he's got Felipe Reyes hot on his heels. There is a cart stationary at turn number 2. And that is the 1-1-2. That is Nikita Lubimov from Estonia, who started 8th. And there is a puff of exhaust smoke coming from the back end of the cart, but I'm not too sure if that cart's going any further forward. And there's also another turnaround. That is the 1:27 of Alexander Van Meeuwen, who started 9th on the grid behind Lubimov and alongside Kai Clark. Down they go into turn number 10 for the opening tour of this circuit. Ryan Gandor trying to make some moves. Started 21st on the grid, might be now into the top 20 as Ashcroft leaves the field coming out of the final corner. Cole Denham looks to have sprung his way up to 3rd place, which he has. Albert Friend is down in 7th ahead of Rory Armstrong with Kai Clark and Oliver Warner rounding out the top 10. Lucas Stoddart and Boris Verhaag round out the top 5 as the leaders make their way through turn 4. Now into the left here at 5. Gap between 1st and 2nd was just over 0.17 as Felipe Reyes trying to put an assault together to try and get past Ashcroft, who takes the briefest of glances over his right-hand shoulder. Cole Denham waiting for the opportunity to get through. And then the train is starting to come alive with more drivers joining it. So it looks like also Leo Gonzalez might have had an issue as well. The 155 representing Switzerland. And there is the 155. He's found himself backwards the other way. A shake of the head in disappointment. But he's got himself pointing back the other way. And on the traditional racing line, Denny Babacek trying to go side by side as Felipe Reyes now gets through on Jacob Ashcroft through turn 2. The Dutchman had the run coming out of the final corner and used the slipstream perfectly. And Leo Gonzalez might have pulled it into the pits, I'm not 100% sure, but the battle for the lead is absolutely frantic at the moment because Jacob Ashcroft, I think, has retaken it. Where has Felipe Reyes ended up? Well, he's not, he might not, he's still in 2nd at the minute. And 3rd, it is the 1:17 of Lucas Stoddart. Well, it was until Albert Friend just sent it up the inside through turn 9. Cole Denham now is actually in 2nd. Felipe Reyes down into 5th place. Rory Armstrong's got the bit firmly between the teeth. The youngster from County Down in Northern Ireland. Now up into what is effectively 6th position. He's got Boris Verhaag for close company. And it is really close between Get this, the top 10 covered by less than 2 seconds. Side by side between Felipe Perez and Boris Verhaag, and Felipe Perez stays ahead for the minute. Just behind them is Kai Clark and Denny Babicek. Clark goes for the move on Verhaag, so does Babicek, nearly goes into the back of Clark. It's nearly 3 wide coming out of turn 6, and still both of them manage to get through before the end of the Europlan at turn 7. There's a bit of a lunge up the inside. Might have been from that was Maxim Becker in the 157 from Germany, who's got behind him the likes of Oliver Warner, the likes of Lars Lambers. 9 minutes and 10 seconds still to go on the timer, plus an additional lap. And the fastest lap of the race is by Lieke van Berkel, of all people. She's done a great job so far. Currently now up into what is 14th position. She started down in 30th at the beginning of the full restart. Maxim Becker now up into 10th. Felipe Perez up the inside of Rory Armstrong through turn 2. That's for P5 on the road, as there's a little bit more of a skirmish. Lars Lambers in the middle of all of that. Oliver Warner has made up a position or two. He's got past Maxim Becker. As Lieke van Berkel definitely fancies an opportunity, pulls alongside and then pulls past Lars Lambers. Going into turn 7, Maxim Becker decides to throw a send up the inside of the 180 of Thomas Verheyen from Belgium. But at the moment, there is still a little bit of stability at the front end of the field. Ashcroft leads the way. Albert Friend in second. Third, it's Cole Denham. Then it's Lucas Stordeur. Fifth, it is now Felipe Perez from the Netherlands. Rory Armstrong in sixth. Kai Clark in seventh. Denny Babicek, Boris Verhaag and Oliver Warner round out the top 10. Alexander Van Meeuwen is now starting to recover. Still has about 7 minutes and 40 plus an additional lap to get himself as high up the order as possible. The 127 from Belgium now 26th. As Maxim Becker fires it up the inside of Oliver Warner to retake that 10th position. Warner looks to return the favour, but I don't think I'm not too sure if he got past. He might have done. I think he still might be behind the 157, but in the meantime, Denny Babicek up the inside of Kai Clark to take 7th through turn number 9. We're over the halfway point as we've got just over 7 minutes plus an additional lap remaining on the timer. Ashcroft has a lead now, just over 2/10. Felipe Perez down in 5th position, sets the fastest lap, and he's just gone for a move up the inside, and that was on Cole. That's Boris Verhaag actually trading places with looks like Kai Clark, and that's the battle for P7 on the road. We've got Rory Armstrong just up ahead. So Ashcroft and Friend have pulled away from the trio behind, which is now being led by the 117 of Belgium's Lucas Stordeur. That's between Stordeur, Cole Denham and Felipe Perez at the back of that trio. Then a quartet of drivers led by Denny Babicek, which has got Rory Armstrong, more than likely Kai Clark and Boris Verhaag. Oliver Warner has managed to get past Lieke van Berkel as Felipe Perez manages to get through, and Cole Denham through turn number 3. Saw the opportunity, the window was open, and Felipe Perez went for it and got the position. 5.5 minutes still remain on the timer as Rory Armstrong has got Kai Clark for close company down the back straight into turn number 7. Through into the right-hand sweeper here at turn 8. And what the drivers tend to do is you can nearly straight line the chicane with a little bit of an adjustment, but then you carry the speed in, going wide into the entry point of turn number 8. Turn 11, exiting out of it. You can use the rumble strips on the right-hand side, but they are very, very treacherous when it's wet weather conditions. And then a little bit of a train there. That was a GKS kart sliding up the inside and that might have been Victor Reutz in the 176, who's ahead of Ryan Rivers. And there is a move by Victor Reutz on Nico van Berkel. We've got more things happening behind, which includes the 123 of Ryan Rivers. Oliver Warner is also embroiled in all of that. Just keeping an eye on, well, I've just noticed that the left-hand side of Kai Clark's bumper, not scraping on the ground, but it is a bit on a diagonal jaunt in comparison with everyone else's bumper, but it's not scraping on the ground. I can't see that it's loose, otherwise it would be flapping. In the meantime, there has been a change for the lead, which means that Albert Friend now is ahead of Jacob Ashcroft. The gap between them is just under 2/10. And between Felipe Reyes and Boris Verhaag, that is from 3rd to 9th. The gap is about 1.4 seconds. Drivers making their way down the Europalan, so still have 33 drivers competing in this race. Lap 1, we lost Nikita Lubimov and Leo Gonzalez. Vic van Kampenhout didn't take the restart. There is more jockeying for position, as Denny Babacek has got past Lucas Tordeur for position, who's now got Cole Denham, Rory Armstrong, Kai Clark, and Boris Verhaag not too far behind. Alexander Van Meeuwen's now got himself up into the top 20 after that incident earlier on. And Albert Friend has a slender advantage over Jacob Ashcroft to the tune of just under 0.2 of a second. And behind, Felipe Reyes is now being caught by everyone behind him. And that includes Denny Babacek. Denny Babacek now looking for P3. Side by side between Rory Armstrong and Kai Clark. Armstrong's pulled alongside and pulled past, but it's towards the outside of turn number 7 off of the Europlan. Might have still kept the position. Albert Friend has the fastest lap in his pocket at the minute, as we've had a change a little bit further back. Boris Verhaag has got past Kai Clark. That is for 8th position on the road, and now the favours return through turn 12 by the 167 from Dan Holland Racing, but then Boris Verhaag again goes side by side down the main start-finish straights. And they are side by side coming out of turn number 2. Oh, and we've had a little bit of a drama for the 116, who stomps the foot firmly on the ground, and that is Kieran Stewart, I'm afraid. That is on the outskirt, the exit of turn number 11. But Ashcroft was 2.5 of a second behind Friend going through, and then a nice launch up the inside. Just read the situation, saw that there was a gap, went for it, and now Albert Friend is going to go side by side up the inside. He retakes the lead through the very next corner at turn number 10. Felipe Reyes is holding on for 3rd place, with Denny Babacek and Lucas Tordeur not too far adrift. But how long can Felipe Reyes hold on to that position for? We're into the final 60 seconds of this race, and Denny Babacek has just lost out to Lucas Tordeur. Ashcroft now knows that this is one of probably a handful of opportunities to get past Albert Friend, and Albert Friend's looking all over his left and right shoulders as they went into the braking zone into turn 7. Albert Friend runs a little bit wide, nearly opens the door for Jacob Ashcroft to get through, but the 122 from Western-super-Mare unable to capitalise. Might just be strategically waiting. 15 seconds on the timer remains in the pre-final here for Minimax, which also incorporates the mini rookie category. So, 2 more laps to go, including this one, and there's a bit of a dogfight just outside of the top 10. Denny Babacek sends it up the inside of Felipe Reyes through turn number 3 and gets 4th position in the process. Albert Friend sternly defending ahead of Jacob Ashcroft as they go through turn 6. Ashcroft might get the run. He is getting the run. He's going to try and pull alongside, but Albert Friend sternly defends. And there's a little bit of rubbing of tyres. Left front to right rear through into the turn 7 chicane. But Albert Friend holds on. One more lap to go after this. Lars Lambers has got past Thomas Verheyen for 11th position. João Maria Pereira up to 15th behind Lieke van Berkel from the Netherlands. Last lap board is now being shown. And first of all, it's going to be, as there has been a change for 3rd position just behind, Denny Babacek gets past Felipe Reyes and Lucas Tordeur. And they're still battling away. Tordeur was looking quickly up the inside of Babacek to counter-attack, but couldn't get through on the 115. Instead of Vrakov but Jacob Ashcroft again is just putting the pressure on big time on Albert Friend, and he's going to try and go side by side. He's nearly 2 wheels on the grass into the braking zone, and Ashcroft sends it through. Albert Friend has no other alternative but to just try and stay out of trouble, and he did exactly that. He read the situation well, did not want to force the issue, and Ashcroft went, that gap's open, I'm taking it. And then defends against Albert Friend. And this is bringing Denny Babacek into the fight with 1 corner remaining. What's going to happen here? Friend pulls to the outside. Ashcroft takes the tighter defensive line. Out of the final corner, it's a run to the line. It's going to be half a kart length and a clash between the pair of them. And Ashcroft takes it by 29 thousandths of a second at the end of it. Denny Babacek takes P3. Cole Denham takes 4th place. Rory Armstrong ends up 5th after all of that happening. Lucas Tordeur, Kai Clark, Felipe Reyes, Boris Verhaag, Maxime Becker rounds out the top 10. Lars Lambers, Thomas Verheyen, Victor Reutz, João Maria Pereira, Lieke van Berkel, Alexander Van Meeuwen, Jent Thimoon, Jack Freeman, Adrien Steons, Oliver Warner round out the top 20. Then it's Zen Lindemann, Cés Moyes, Ryan Gandor, Jeff Verbeek, Tristan Shays, Brown van der Weken, Finn Albert Jorgensen, Christian Segerson, Maria Roberto finishes 29th ahead of Andres Kellerup, and Ryan Rampadarath being the last of the classified finishers. Ryan Rivers, unfortunately, finishing a lap down in 32nd. Kieran Stewart out on lap 10, with Nikita Lubimov and Leo Gonzalez out on the opening lap, and Vic van Kampenhout unable to take the restart.